Hello, everyone, and welcome to Ground Up with me, Natalie. I have been pursuing a career in acting for over a decade and have learned a lot. I built my career from the ground up, and I'm simply curious as to how other people did it too. I'm going to be gaining insights into how some of the most inspiring people got to where they are today. I'll interview entrepreneurs, actors, thought leaders, health experts, and many more. So if you're curious like me and gain motivation through inspiration, then this podcast is definitely for you. Welcome to season 2 of Ground Up with Natalie. Hello, everyone. Today we have the amazing Adeline Rudolph, or Addie, as her close friends like to call her. She is from the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina and Riverdale and Resident Evil, and the list goes on and on. But today I ask her pretty much all the questions about her audition stories, which is really fun to know what she was feeling in the room, the notes she got, her director sessions, time that she's had off, and what she did with that time and how she dealt with the lull of working and then going a year literally without working at all, and what that does to you and your mood, your self-worth, and how she got out of that. So it's a really, really fun episode. We just talked for a whole hour, so get your pen and paper out to take notes and enjoy the episode. Addie, thank you so much for being on the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
I'm so excited you're here. We start every episode with the Ground Up 3.
Okay.
So I want to know, where are you from?
I'm from Hong Kong, but I'm German Korean.
Okay.
Yeah. So
how did we get to Hong Kong?
So my dad and my mom moved there while she was pregnant. My dad got a job there, so he moved. Yeah.
Okay, great. It's funny. The last guest I had, Danielle, she also was in Korea or something, and it was because her dad got a job, and I was like, wait, that's fun.
Yeah, there's a lot of expats in Hong Kong. Yeah, and I was very much part of that bubble.
Yeah, cool. Yeah. Wow. Okay. When did you move to the USA?
I moved 6 years ago now.
That's it?
Yeah, and I just got my green card last year.
What?
Many tears.
Wait.
But we did it. Yeah.
Okay, I need more of this. Did you get...
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, first let me ask, what was your first job? Paid job, you're 16 or whatever age?
Actually, I was in the mall when I was 13, 14, I think, and there was a commercial agent that stopped me. And so I did some commercial work.
Got
when
it.
I was 13, 14.
Oh my God, so funny.
Yeah.
Your parents were like, yeah, we're down.
No, they were like, absolutely not. And I was like, well, can we just check it out together? And so they came with me and they made sure it was fine. And I got paid nothing. Looking back, I'm like, I did all that for that much?
Take advantage of me.
Very much so.
Did you continue after that, acting or?
No.
Okay.
So that was very much for me it was just a side thing that I did that was fun, but not something that I necessarily thought was a career I was going to go after.
Right.
Same with modeling. There used to be these modeling fashion shows that schools would host, and so I would join those.
Oh, wow.
But that was about it. It was always just fun.
Yeah.
Just for fun.
It's almost coincidentally your first job was acting.
It's funny.
Right?
I actually never thought about it. Yeah.
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 Okay.
Yeah.
And then what was your first dream job?
In terms of what I wanted to do.
Yeah, you're a kid and you're like, I
okay.
want to go to space or whatever.
I think I had a couple. I think lawyer was definitely one of them. I like to argue and then, in a healthy way. But what else? Journalist was definitely one that I wanted to actually pursue, and that I still feel like in a parallel universe, there's an Addie running around that's a journalist. Yeah.
Did you see Civil War?
No, I didn't.
Okay. That it was okay, but I just learned a lot about journalism in general. I know what it is because you watch the news and you see them, but whoa, what a fascinating job to have.
Yeah.
So I know there's all different types of journalists, but tell me what your first acting job was, and then we'll go from there.
Okay. My first acting job was Sabrina.
Okay. So how did you book Sabrina?
Okay. So I think we should start with I moved to the States. So I went to university in London.
Okay.
And then after graduating, I decided that I wanted to take a gap year. And so I was modeling part-time in London, and I had a modeling agency here, Next Models, who basically were my sponsor for my visa. So I decided, okay, if I'm going to get this 3-year visa and I get to work here, I might as well try different things. So when I moved here end of 2017, 2 months in, I walked into an acting class and I just fell in love with it. And through my acting class, I had a acting class friend who's still my friend to this day, Michael Leibowitz, and he introduced me to my agent. They kind of hip-pocketed me.
Okay.
And then, got my first audition like that.
That's amazing. That sounds like that's like a common story. I think acting classes are so amazing and underrated as far as who you can meet in them. Because yes, you learn a lot about acting, but like you said, still your friend to this day.
Yeah.
All my friends are from acting class when I was like 22.
Yeah.
So, and yeah, you got introduced. So I always tell people, like, if you have no idea where to start, like, sign up for a local acting class.
I agree.
And also people in class are like talking about their struggles and they're like, oh, I had this meeting and it went bad. And then you like learn from it or whatever.
Yes.
Okay. So you get signed with your first agent.
Yeah.
And they start sending you out.
So yeah, I remember, I think I had like 2, they were almost like self-tapes actually. So I sent in like tapes and I believe the first one was it might've been, was it Pretty Little Liars? Maybe they did a reboot way back when. And
wait, so, okay, we're the same exact age. So something tells me we have done a lot of the same auditions around the same time. So when did you get signed?
2018, January.
Yeah. So yeah. The reboot was like I think a little later than that.
A little later. Maybe it was a different one. I forget what it was.
But it was like a young adult CW. Freeform.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Very that. And then I remember the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, that audition came in and I taped it. And I remember at the time, and to this day, I love David Rappaport. He is like the person who gave me my first shot. I remember, I think it was my team who was like, David, just, take a look at her. I know she has like no pictures, no reel, no nothing, but there might be something there. Just look at her tape and just have her come in. And I'm just thankful that he did. So that ended up being my first in-room audition ever.
And you booked it.
And I booked it.
Addie.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Nothing ever came as easy ever again in this industry.
I know. I will say though, because that was, okay, so you're 23?
Me?
No.
Oh, at that point. Yeah, 22.
22. Okay.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
So if you think 22, yes, you booked your first in-room audition, but it's been 22 minus 29 is 7, right? So it's been 7. What is it? 6?
Yeah.
It's been 6 years of auditioning.
Yeah.
And I'm sure, and I want to ask like the actual numbers, but you've been going on probably hundreds over these
100%.
years.
Yeah.
And you've booked 5?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yes, you got that. And also before that, you were going on castings for modeling, right? Mm-hmm. You had your fair share of no's?
Yes. Yeah. 100%. I feel like I tell people, I actually really, really loved modeling, and I was very grateful to start modeling here. I got to meet a lot of people. It was fun. I loved my team at Next. And it did, I think modeling in 100%, it just let me detach from the no's. It was just like, this is just I do so many of these a day. All I need is one job for the month, and that usually pays for, whatnot. And yeah, that was kind of the mindset coming into it. And also, because I was taking a gap year, in my mind, I guess I could kind of just come at it from a perspective of, I just want to give this a go I just want to have fun with it. I want to feel good about it. And yeah, if not, then I was more than happy to go back to studying. I very much loved school too. So
you're like, whatever works.
Whatever works. I mean, yeah, not as like that easygoing, but kind of like trying to tell myself, like, just have fun with it,
Well, also, I feel like it has to do with age. So I don't know about you, but when I was 20 is when I moved here just from Orange County, so not far, but and started pursuing it. I was like bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. I had my rose-colored glasses for so long. So when you're 21, 22, 23 pursuing this, it's definitely easier. Right? Did you feel that? And now it's like, okay, wow, like this is what I've chosen. And so I feel like for me, the no's are getting a little bit harder. How do you feel?
I feel like there's less stuff right now. There's not enough projects right now. So I feel the no's a little bit more now just because I'm not going out as much.
Yeah.
I feel like during a time where if I'm having a bunch of auditions and I get no's, it's kind of easier for me to keep the ball rolling just because I have another audition to focus on. It was nicer back then because you actually got direct feedback from casting.
Yeah.
I think that has changed too, obviously, which you've talked about a lot as well with everyone else. But
yeah,
I don't know. Why do you find it harder?
Maybe it's just the years weighing on like, ooh, I've been pursuing this for 10 years. And again, I've had my successes and I continue to, because I don't want to tell the universe that I don't, right? I want to continue to manifest it. But I feel like the no's definitely right. You start with like 100 and then as the years go on, you get more and you get those bookings, which is great. But did you like in person better or self tapes?
I think I prefer in room.
Yeah.
For sure. Well, I say that. No, I think I prefer in room. I've gotten used to the self tapes now, where the thought of going in room now kind of like makes me nervous. But I think there was something really cool about having those jitters right before. It's like going up on stage, right, and being like afraid to perform. But something comes out that you maybe didn't expect would come out, that would never come out in a self tape just because you're comfortable.
And not to mention the casting director is like, great, that was fine. Let's do it again.
Yes.
And you got the jitters out. It's fine. Like I'm human. I'm here. And you're like, oh, okay.
100%.
For tapes, it's like you do it once. You hope you're in the right lane.
Yeah.
And
then you either hear back or you don't.
Yeah.
Whereas in room, if you messed up.
Yeah.
You're very much like, you're like, that's okay. That one's not mine. That's fine. Moving on.
You can usually feel the vibe too when they're like, thank you.
Yes. Yeah. And you're like, no, thank you.
Yeah. I'm glad I just got ready for an hour, drove 40 minutes, parked for 20 minutes, and memorized this entire thing for 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But thank you.
Thank you.
One more thing actually I did want to say to you was saying, does it get easier or harder with the no's? I think I've also shifted my perspective on what constitutes a no. For me, a callback is no longer a no.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Totally.
Where the longer I've been here, it's as long as I get the callback or I move forward, that's already a win.
Yeah.
I'll take it. And if someone else gets booked for it, fantastic. Then it wasn't mine. And I'm happy to accept that because I know I was on the right track. And it's really just, you know what I mean?
Yep.
So that one,
I love that.
I mean, not always. If you get to like the bottom two and then you don't get it, it kind of hurts. But if you're just getting your callbacks and you're not moving that much forward, it's still a win.
Totally. And
know?
eventually the momentum and will lead you to that one thing. But it's so true when it's down to you and one other person. You would think, especially when you're telling the story to someone who like either isn't an actor or is an actor, but they're waiting for their first booking or whatever. They're like, you're so lucky, that it's just you and one other person. And you're like, or we're like, yes, but
it's devastating if it's not.
It's not, because also there does come a point to where it's like when it's you and one other person 3 times, that can make you feel shitty.
Yes. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It all depends on, I guess, your own journey, or you've been, wanting to book a series regular. Like someone posted, so a guest I posted a clip where he was like, it took a decade to book a series regular.
Yes, I love Sharonis.
Yes, Sharonis. Okay. And good trouble.
Yes.
Yeah. And someone wrote like, booking anything is honestly a huge accomplishment. And I feel like there's so much that goes into that statement because it is true. But at the same time, if you've been pursuing this for 15 years and you've been booking things and you're ready for that recurring or that series regular, there is an element where you're like, no, I want my series regular.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Because also it's like you're investing so much of your time, your funds, your energy. Of course, at some point you want to pay back, right? You're happy to invest into yourself, but you want a return on that investment, right?
Exactly.
At some point, or at least seeing it go somewhere.
Yeah. And your goal's coming to fruition. If your goal is this, then you accomplish it, then it's great. I agree about David Rappaport, obviously.
Love. Yeah.
And he's just cast so many things that I genuinely, even as a young girl, I'm like, I want to be on that show,
Yes. Yeah.
So I want to know, I've auditioned multiple times, for them, and they're amazing, Lindsay and him.
Yeah.
How was your Sabrina audition? Like, walk us through that.
I was so nervous because I'd never done an audition before in room. So I actually didn't even know how it worked, right?
Yeah.
I just showed up. I knew I had these lines that I needed to do. And I kind of told myself I'm just going to walk in here and pretend like I've done this 1,000 times. I walk in. The second I walk in, David's like, so I hear this is your first audition. And I was like, oh my God. I was like, yeah, it is. I'm really nervous. But he kind of broke down that wall for me.
I was going to say, that sounds kind of nice.
Yes, it was wonderful. He was just very welcoming and very kind off the get-go. And I remember after we had run it once, I think he was like, he gave me a look that really was encouraging to me.
Yeah.
And I think that was also one of those moments where, again, whether I would have booked that job or not, I was really thankful for that experience and also him being open to, doing it over and over with me. I didn't know how it worked again, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it was really wonderful. It was him. He was super sweet. Right after that session, he gave me like a compliment on my acting.
Yeah.
And then I left feeling really good.
Oh, that's so nice.
Yeah.
Feeling
it's
good.
It's not always like that.
It's not
right?
always like that.
I've also had,
Right.
Yeah.
No, you're right about that. That is a win.
Yes.
I do agree. When I leave an audition or a callback and I'm like, they let me do it a couple times.
Yes.
They played, with me, and the director gave great notes. It's totally, because like you said, we're giving all of our energy and funds and everything into this. And auditioning is part of our process, which is a huge part of our career, essentially.
Yes. Yeah.
So when those go good and it's fun and you feel energetic after, it's a huge win.
It's also a separate skill.
Yeah.
I think because I booked my first in-room, I didn't have a lot of in-room experience, especially during my hiatuses. So I learned a lot on set once I was on Sabrina. And then when I had a break, I didn't get a single callback. And I was like, oh my gosh. And I was like messing up my lines in the rooms. And I think that for me was a moment of like, I'm going to get back into classes. Like, I don't care if I'm on a show or not. This is not, my number one thing is also, if you think you've made it after you've booked one show, you're sorely mistaken.
Yes.
Just in the nicest way possible. I mean, absolutely be proud of yourself for achieving that. But, this industry moves really fast. You got to stay on top of it. And you can't let your ego, consume you to the point where you think you've got it, you've booked this show, and therefore you're this fantastic actor. No, like if things are not working, go back into classes. It's not embarrassing. It's not bad. I think it's fantastic to just kind of, I don't know, keep honing in your talent.
And energetically, you're letting yourself know, the universe know, your team know, like, I'm still in this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, because when things get stale and stuff and we're down on ourselves, it's like, ugh, what do? I already have my team. I don't need to be sending pitch emails. Like, we can't submit ourselves to auditions.
Yeah.
So I feel like class is a great way. I just emailed a teacher that I've been wanting to study with, and I'm like, hey, when are the next classes? I haven't been in class in like a year and a half, but I was feeling that way.
Yeah.
Where I was like, I need to get back in and just get uncomfortable and get up there. And
100%. I think I went back during the strike. I did one. I think there's another studio that I've reached out to too, but they're always fully booked apparently. So I'm just trying to get on that list.
Same. I'm like waiting for the response.
I'm like, excuse me. Can I join your class?
Yeah, please. Okay, so that sounds like a wonderful experience though, the in-room audition one.
Yeah.
So, okay, tell me about, was Sabrina recurring?
Was a series reg. Yeah. I know.
That is amazing. Yeah, well, good for you for being like, okay, this is great, but I don't know everything, and I
no, because I didn't.
Yeah, you're like.
I remember my first day on set. They're like, "All right, blocking." I was like, "Blocking." I had no idea what it was. I had no idea what marks were. I just didn't know how it worked.
Right.
At all.
But then you eat like day, whatever, because you're there 14 hours a day, 3, 4 days, 5 days a week.
Yeah.
So you quickly got a hang of it. Do you remember? I remember my first action. Do you remember?
Ooh, you know what? No, I don't.
I remember because it was like you.
Yeah.
My first time ever on a TV set. And I remember just being like, whoa, I'm here. Like, this is it. And I was 23 as well. And also shot in Vancouver.
Oh, no. High five.
Yes. Wait, were we there at the same time?
Maybe. Probably.
2018?
Yeah.
Wait, that's funny.
But when
were you staying? Oh, wait, no, you moved there. I was staying at the Sutton.
Well, we were at the Sutton for like a month and a half, and then we had to get our own places.
Right.
But Vancouver's so small.
So small.
I'm surprised we
brushed
haven't
shoulders.
we probably did at some point.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because there's nothing to do either. So I was always by myself walking to coffee shops and stuff.
I love Vancouver.
Yeah. But I remember just being like, oh my God, this is it. And,
Yeah.
you know, ready, action, and then cut. And I was like,
Yeah.
that was it?
Yeah.
It's easier than auditioning.
Yes. Yeah. It's different, right? It's just so different. I cannot explain it. They're completely separate skills.
They are.
They're so separate. It's really crazy.
It really is.
It's like, yeah.
Because
You're right. It's not slower per se because TV moves pretty fast, but you're right. You do a couple of takes and then that's it. I don't know.
Yeah.
And then you go into a green room and then they're setting up the next shot and
Right.
you're like, that was done already.
yeah,
Okay. And
I filmed a scene
Yeah.
that's going to be like airing,
yes.
but I didn't. Okay, cool. Glad I was prepared.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And of course, there's certain scenes where it gets more intense, and then
Yeah.
you're like, okay, now I know where I am. I'm on
Yeah.
set right now.
Yes.
Fuck, I'm acting.
Yeah.
But yeah, I felt, especially with like something like mine was freeform, so something like a CW or a freeform
Yeah.
show. It's very, it's fun.
Yes.
All right, guys, let's take a quick break from the show to talk about our sponsor, Mastermind Media. I've been shooting with Mastermind for a few years now, and I can truly say that they have covered all of my needs within the digital space. They create logos for me, graphic designs for my journal magic. Obviously, they produce the podcast, and it looks amazing. So I love working with them, and they're offering all of my listeners 15% off. So just shoot them an email and tell them that I sent you, and you'll get the discount. All of their information can be found in the show notes below. All right, guys, back to the show. Okay, so then how many seasons did that do?
So it was a Netflix show that they split up into season 1, part 1, part 2, and season 2, part 3, part 4.
Okay.
There were 20 episodes a season.
Oh, wow.
So to me, it felt like 4 seasons,
Okay.
but technically it was 2.
But 40
with, like, 2 different
episodes?
parts.
Like,
40 episodes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay,
In
so
2 years'
then
time.
you know, doesn't get picked up for season 3 or whatever.
Yeah, because COVID hit.
Oh.
That was the reason why.
Oh my God.
Yeah, yeah. And I will say one more thing, actually, that I do want to put in here that I find really important as well. When we're talking about on-set dynamics, because it was my first time being on a set ever, I'd never had any bad experiences on set, right? I've heard these horror stories, and I really have to say, I kept hearing like how important it is to have a good number one, for example. And shout out to Kierna Shipka, she was fantastic. I think she was such a great person to look up to and kind of learn from for my first show, including all the other actors that were on that set. They were incredible, but everyone was kind, everyone was sweet. I mean, yes, I had my days of work where, went into the night and I was tired. Right. Kiernan worked every single day for those 40 episodes. That girl didn't complain once.
Wow.
I feel like that's something to really bear in mind too when you get to a place where you are booking consistently and you're just have a good attitude and it really trickles down or up. It makes a difference.
Thank you for saying
Yeah,
that. 100%. And oh my God, I'm so lucky too. I had a great number one where I was like, I can't wait to do that.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was like, I want to be this gracious and kind and welcoming. It makes, because I've been pretty lucky. I haven't had any bad ones, but I've had not actors, but other people on set that were high up that were just not as like welcoming. And it just makes you feel less than, and you can't feel that when you're acting.
Yes.
You need to feel on top of the world and comfortable and all of that. So, my boyfriend works with, he's a first AD and he's worked with like every A-list celebrity you can think of. And he comes back home because he can't tell anyone else his stories. And so he'll tell me.
Yeah.
And I wanted to make a post the other day about like, please, 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 please be kind to your PAs, your second ADs, your first ADs, your directors, your castmates, everything, because no matter how big you get, these people, he tells me stories, he's like, Natalie, they wouldn't look so-and-so in the eye, or they
that
said,
I've never understood.
or they said that they're leaving early because they have to go. Do you guys realize that crew and everyone there has been working on this project weeks before the actors got on their marks? When I first started, I was like, good morning, I'm here, like, da-da-da. And it's like, hey, we've been working on this for, what I mean? But I didn't understand that, honestly, until my boyfriend now really has put things into perspective as a a first AD. But
no, it's so true. It's also exactly what you just said. It's not just onset, it's offset too, right? Like just making sure that you're always kind and considerate. And again, not to mean you always have to like be a pushover either, because that's a different conversation of like also being able to stand up for yourself on set when so much is happening. But always graciously, right? I mean, there's always a way to bring up a concern that is respectful towards, the person that you're talking to or whatnot.
And I also think you don't always have to be on, right?
Of
because
course,
I remember talking to,
yeah.
Kennedy, I think is her first name, Nancy Drew.
I've never met her, but
she was on Tell Me Lies season 1, and I had the pleasure of chatting with her in the van and stuff. She worked every single day.
Yeah.
And it was her first show ever, her first audition as well, I think. And she was saying that she was just like, yes, everything that someone, and so I'm sure you feel that way as a number one, but it's also like if there's days where you're not it's okay to be down, but treat people with respect.
Absolutely. I think it's also okay to just, I've kind of just reverted to, hey man, I'm really tired today. Yeah. I'm just going to let you know. Don't worry about me.
Totally.
It's just kind of like you're kind of letting people off the hook where they don't need to worry about it either, if that makes sense. Because I know I appreciate that if a friend of mine is like, hey, I'm having an off day, don't take it personally. Right. I'm like, noted, fantastic.
Totally.
Instead of me thinking like, oh shoot, did I do something to, because of course I care.
Yeah. That's such a great way to put it. Yeah, walking in the makeup trailer being like,
love you guys.
Yeah, even just like, I'm so tired, because you're all quiet in the morning instead of, because there's those mornings where you're like, good morning. Like I brought everyone coffee too,
Yes.
Okay, so Sabrina ends. Yeah. Now you go back to auditioning, but it is the pandemic. So what, you start auditioning in like October of 2020?
Yes. Which is so crazy because I remember, it was funny because between the first season and the second season, during my hiatus, I wasn't getting any callbacks, right? It was that moment of, I really still need to work on this a lot more. I need to put in more effort into, learning how to audition and whatnot. And after shooting the second season, I very much felt like, even on set, I was ready for a bigger role as well. And I was ready to tackle, something new. And right before COVID hit, our show had ended. It hadn't been canceled at that point yet, but I was auditioning for other things. And I was getting such good feedback for the first time. And it felt really great. And then the pandemic hit.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn, okay. And first we were all thinking, a month and this will be over. But then it quickly turned out that wasn't the case. I had one project that I booked, which I wish I could have done. I still love the script. It's one of the best scripts I've read. But that unfortunately didn't end up going through. Because of the pandemic, but also the platform that it was going to be on had gone bankrupt at the time.
Got it.
So it was unfortunate, but yeah. And then I went to self-taping. And then I booked a lot through self-tapes, actually. Yeah.
So what was next?
Next was, I got a call from, I'm very grateful to. So Sabrina had the same showrunner as Riverdale, Roberto.
Oh.
And Roberto called my team saying that he had a role for me on Riverdale.
Okay.
Which was so sweet and so kind and so lovely. So I, of course, wanted to do it.
Yeah.
And so that was the next thing that I did back in Vancouver.
Yeah.
And at that time, while I was on Riverdale, I also was auditioning for Resident Evil.
Okay.
And that was also a very, very, very long casting process. And I eventually booked it. So the day I got out of, I went to Vancouver to shoot for Riverdale. I finished my 2-week quarantine. The day I got out, I got coffee with a girlfriend of mine. And then I got the call that I got the job. So I was like, okay, so I'm going to South Africa. Yay.
Wait. So did you move to Vancouver for this one?
No, because it was recurring. Okay. I was just there for, whichever episodes they needed.
So you did 10 episodes of that, right?
No, I think I did 5.
5,
or
okay.
4 or 5.
Okay, great. So So by the way, when you're recurring on something, you're always auditioning. Yeah. For your series regular or your lead or whatever.
Yes.
FYI, people.
Yes.
So even when you're working on a recurring, you are you're auditioning in your trailer. Mm-hmm. You're just auditioning all the time. Yeah. All the time. Okay, so you book Resident Evil.
Yes.
Oh, that
Yeah.
call. Tell me about that
Yes.
call.
I
the best feeling
it's
ever.
the best feeling. I feel like my team catches me in public a lot for these calls. So I'm like, okay. But I was just outside at a coffee shop. I get a call. You just know, when everyone calls at the same time.
Oh, yeah, on the
it's good.
three-way.
Yeah. I feel like my manager, all she says is, she's like, honey, you know what this means when we're all on the same call.
Oh my God.
And I was like,
You have
did
Lena,
I get
right?
it? Yes, I love Lena.
Oh my God.
And I was like, did I get it? She's like, yeah, you did. And I think it's been a while since I got so happy. Do you have that where when your first job ever, you're like kind of crying because you're like so overly stimulated and excited?
Yes.
I think the other jobs I've booked since then, I'm like so happy, but it's not the same as like that full like cry release. Like this is my first real shot.
Yeah.
I felt like Resident Evil was one of those though, where I was just really excited to do it. Unfortunately it did get canceled and we didn't get to do a second season. But I stand by it. I loved that show. I loved my character. I loved the people that I worked with.
You shot where?
In Cape Town.
Wow.
I love Cape Town.
Yeah.
I would
That was
so
probably
go back
another
there.
element. Like when when we're booking these things, we're thinking about, and you know where it shoots and stuff, your whole life changes.
Yeah.
And so when you get a call like that, it is different.
Yes.
Because it's like, oh, I'm not driving to Burbank to go shoot at the Warner Brothers studio.
Okay, well, ironically, I've never shot in the States.
Okay.
So I get a green card. I move here. I get a green card. I cry my tears, and I have not once booked a job in the U.S. So,
What?
Which I kind of like.
Yeah. I've never worked in Los Angeles
Fair.
or California.
Yes.
It's all been like in other states.
Other states, yeah.
That's fun though.
Yeah. So I feel like for me, I mean, you kind of, when you get the casting breakdown, you usually get where they're shooting.
Yeah.
So sometimes I just get excited about the shooting location first, and then I'm like, okay, what is this project?
Yeah, totally.
Where am I
So
going?
are you at the point where you're like, I want Los Angeles? Like it would be fun to drive my car to set.
Yes and no. I think I would love to do a project here, maybe a movie or like a limited series, but I very much love actually moving to different countries.
Yeah,
And doing that. And thankfully, Tommy and I, our relationship is great. Doing long distance, we get each other. He's an actor too, so.
So nice. Yeah, you guys seem really amazing and cute and
Yeah.
sweet. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, today you were like, I taped him this morning, and I'm like, that's such a real thing. Like you
my
guys
gosh.
taping each other and
Yes.
being able to do that.
That was my saving grace during COVID, I felt like too. And once things shifted into like self-taping, it's really, really great to have a boyfriend who's an actor who can like read with you whenever you want.
Yes.
It's kind of nice, yeah. And also who's brutally honest with you.
So you guys work together on scenes. He'll be like, let's try it this way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like we used to do that a little bit more in the beginning of our relationship where we'd give like extensive notes. I feel like we've both gotten to a place in our craft where if it's not hitting, we'll give each other a little, like some notes.
That makes sense.
But we've kind of gotten to a place where if he gives me a note, I'm like, well, I'm playing it like this because da-da-da-da-da-da,
Totally.
And I'm trying to, so, yeah, but
That's
it's great.
lovely though.
Who do you read with?
My boyfriend.
As well. Okay,
Yeah.
yes.
He is so sweet and kind for not being an actor, and at any given point doesn't complain. Not like, okay,
'Cause it
but
could
like
be long sometimes,
yeah.
huh? Yeah.
he's never like just 30 minutes. He's like, yeah, babe, let's do it.
Aw,
Like
that's
I
amazing.
know, and he's like a director, so
Yeah.
I totally allow him to.
Give you notes and
Yeah, it never feels like that icky thing where you're
Yes.
just like, actually, I know
Unsolicited.
exactly what
Yeah.
you mean. It always feels good. So,
Yes.
do you, for your auditions these days,
Yeah.
do you memorize?
Yes, I
all
do.
Yeah.
It's so funny. I have a couple of friends who have, there's apps where you can learn lines, where you can read off certain parts of your lines, which I completely understand. If you're bombarded with auditions and they're 10 pages and there are these long monologues and they're due tomorrow.
Right.
Yeah. But having said that, I think I like almost downloaded the app and then I was like, I just can't.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
know. I just I think so far I've had enough time to learn my lines, and therefore I do learn my lines.
It hasn't been that bad.
Yeah.
Like, I never get one that's due to tomorrow.
Okay.
For the most part.
Yeah.
Like, the reality is, I know,
Yeah.
like, during the strike, everyone's like,
Yeah.
or like, we need to get paid for this.
Yeah.
And this is just I have no problem sharing my, like, truth. You know what I mean? I'm like, I've been auditioning for 10 years.
Yeah.
I've never, the stars that are now, the A-list celebrities who had to, go pick up the scripts from the studio to even be able to memorize the lines to then have to drive back for the audition. Like, we're so lucky.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's like,
Yeah.
like this is the work ethic of it.
Yeah.
We have to be putting ourselves on tape.
Yeah.
And if we want the opportunity, we have to embrace it and realize that it's the part of the process of becoming an actor.
I also feel like, and maybe this is also the mindset for me, sometimes I like memorizing it because if I do get the call back, it's already there. It's so much easier for me to pick up again and relearn. And usually the callbacks are a little bit sooner than, if that makes sense.
Right, because then you have to scramble and be like, oh shit.
What did I do and how did I, again, I understand, but I think each to their own too. Like,
totally, whatever works for you.
Honestly, whatever works
Literally,
for you.
whatever makes
Yes. If you end up on set and you killed it, I mean, yeah. Done.
If you aren't booking, maybe switch up your tactic. Whatever that is.
Yes.
And also, memorizing is like, first of all, when you went in the room, you didn't have a choice.
Yeah.
I mean, I
couldn't do it.
Really?
I tried it for one audition.
In person?
In person.
So I was taught at my acting school or my acting class that you should always, so you know how the first thing you're taught,
who did you?
Leslie Kahn.
Oh yes, I did. That was my first class ever.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
I think she taught like hold your sides because the casting director gets nervous if you don't have them in your hand. This is back. I haven't heard this in so long.
Yeah. I mean,
but
things
like
have changed, but
hold your sides so that if you have to pick up a line or if they want to go over something, you're just like, oh yeah. So I had it down, like I would have it memorized.
Yeah.
But if I ever needed to, I would just flip the page like mid audition.
No way.
Yeah. So you never held them.
Throw me off.
Okay.
I think
everyone has their own picadillos.
Yeah. I had the same thing. Yesterday I had a Zoom with a casting director and I knew my lines. I had already sent in this tape.
Okay.
They were willing to work on it with me.
Okay.
And I had my iPad. So I had it on my laptop set up for the Zoom. And then I had my iPad next to me and the sides open. And I don't know what it was about just the sides being there.
Oh my
it
God.
threw me off.
Really?
Yeah. I like literally, I try not to apologize too much when I'm doing like auditions anymore.
Totally.
But I was like, I was like, I am, sorry. No, you're fine. I was like, genuinely, I am so sorry. Turned off my iPad, chucked it away, and then just did it again.
And it worked.
And it worked. I just
they haunt you.
I mean, the Zoom in itself like throws you off, right?
Yes.
I don't love it, but it is.
Have you ever done a chemistry read on Zoom?
No. I don't think I've only ever done a chemistry read for Sabrina. That's the only one I've ever done. Yeah.
It's so weird.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
I can imagine.
You're like trying to have chemistry with someone
over
on a screen. And you can't see them.
Yes.
And they're like, place them on the right. So you're like going like this. Yeah, it's so weird.
Like,
yeah. Like, oh my God. Auditioning is so weird.
Yeah.
Okay. So, you book Resident Evil, you go film that.
Yes.
You're so excited.
Yes.
And it doesn't get picked up. So are you like, so when you're waiting,
yes.
Tell us what it feels like when you're waiting for a season to get picked up of a show that you're a series regular on.
Ooh. I mean, I think it's hard because Resident Evil was the first show where I actually had to wait for that information. Sabrina was am I lying? I feel like it happened so quickly that it felt like
it was like a weird Netflix deal where it was like kept going.
Yes. And then I guess when it got canceled, because there was the pandemic, there was enough whispers where I was like, oh, this might not move forward. But I kind of maybe knew it was coming. I don't know.
And also no one worked for 6 months straight after that. So you're like, well, this is everyone.
Everyone, exactly. Whereas, you know what? Resident Evil was kind of tough when I was waiting. So I finished shooting, I think in 2021. And then I was waiting more or less all of 2022. 2022 was like a tough year for me. It was like a year of, I was a series reg and therefore I cannot go out for any other series regular roles. You're tied contractually until you find out if your show is moving forward or not. And then also I felt like I still wasn't getting the feedback that I wanted from all the other projects that I was going out for.
Which were movies,
but I think also like recurring roles or whatnot. Okay. And I just... because our show, so there was like a period of time during which they had to decide if they wanted to extend our contracts or not, and then they pay you a chunk, right? or like one episodic rate. And yeah, so I think I was going out. I think we figured maybe it wouldn't move forward. So we were just trying to like dabble a little bit and see if there was other things I could go out for, and I wasn't booking anything. And I got really sulky.
Yeah.
I was really at home. I didn't want to travel because I was scared to miss something, and I didn't want to. I mean, I didn't work for 10 months, right? That sucks. And I was like,
or get
book, or
test.
really,
something for the hope.
Exactly.
Right? I feel like the hope is what keeps me going for anything.
Yeah.
And I'll be like, oh shit, I haven't booked in 2 years, but those chemistry reads or
100%.
those things keep you going.
I didn't even have that. So I felt like, okay, am I just a bad actor? Which is a recurring thought all the time.
Always. 100%.
But I just remember it got really, I did do one project that year, which I was very grateful for. I like loved my cast. And after doing that project and coming back, I was still kind of upset though that I wasn't booking anything else. So I think it was December of 2022. And it got to a point where I was talking down on myself so much that Tommy was like, nope, enough. I love you. I need you to get a hobby, or I need you to do, like, in the nicest way possible. Like, he's like, respectfully.
Yes.
I need you to do something for yourself outside of this, because right now you're so in your head. You're talking down on yourself. You're not you. And so I don't know what it was about him just like saying it like that. That was my New Year's resolution. I was like, for 2023, I'm going to start a new hobby. So I did Taekwondo. I was like, just for fun. I just wanted to do Taekwondo. So I was like, okay, this is, a martial art that I can kind of improve on. I like the belt system. I like that I'm working towards something. You get these little rewards. What else? I went back into class. I don't know, just tried to pack my months not waiting for a job, but just doing what I do and hoping that the jobs would come to me, and just living my life, seeing my friends and whatnot. And so that really changed everything. Like 2023 was maybe my favorite year of work ever. Oh. And it's so interesting how, this idea of when you stop holding on to something so tightly and actually doing other things in your life, those are the skills that actually help you book something else in the future. And I felt like, ironically, even doing Taekwondo and then booking Mortal Kombat was like, I didn't know Mortal Kombat was on the table at this point. And so it was just, I don't know.
That was beautiful. Yes.
Yeah.
I love it all. Mm-hmm. You create your reality.
Yeah.
And I needed to hear that. I needed to hear that literally, because I'm kind of at that point where I'm like I'm like, okay, when's the next?
I'm there now too. This year has also been like, okay, no project. Yeah, I'm trying to keep it together.
Wow. Okay. So you were like, thank you, Tom. What a great boyfriend. To like, because he sees you every single day. He knows what you're going through.
And he was entertaining it for a while too, right? Like he wasn't straight up like, don't do this. No. He was just like, okay, I understand. He was kind. He was sweet. And then it got to a point where he's like, you're doing yourself a disservice.
Yes. Yeah. Put your boots on.
Yeah.
Pick your pants up.
Yeah.
Let's go. And you did something so specific. You're like, all right, something where I'm moving my body. I'm getting out of my head. Martial arts. Yeah. Which also is a creative outlet, and I love that it totally incorporates into acting. Oh my God, you were able to use that in Mortal Kombat?
Yeah, I mean, let's put it this way. I tried really, really hard to like be on the level of, everyone else on that movie, because they're incredible martial artists, right? All of them. The actors. They're just all really badass, every single one of them. And so I was grateful that I had, my amazing stunt team, Malaya Kim, who I adore. He, was helping me really just hone in the moves and use what I had, but also incorporate different types of martial arts, right, into. Yeah.
You did martial arts, you got back into class, and then you started seeing some momentum and like,
It was more so than momentum. It was funny because the next thing was Hellboy. And Hellboy was a little bit of an offer, where it was a production company that I had a general meeting with.
General meetings work?
Apparently. So I had a general meeting a couple of years ago with Millennium, and somehow, I guess, top of 2023, at the time that script didn't work out. This script, my team was like, hey, remember Adeline? Why don't we revisit her for this role? And she's so perfect. I love my character on Hellboy. She's so very me. And and I guess I had a meeting with the director, and I got off of that. I mean, I read the script, I did the work, I was, ready to have my questions. And after finishing the director session, I called my team. I was like, I think that went well. I was like, am I reading for this, or like, what's? Because sometimes I do like director sessions and then I tape.
Yeah.
So I wasn't sure, and they're like, I don't know. Same day, I got the call. You got the job. I was like, oh my God. Okay, amazing.
And that didn't shoot in the country?
Bulgaria.
What?
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
my God. That was 2023.
Yeah.
Was
last
that
year.
was that one job in 2023, or did you shoot?
No. And then Mortal Kombat shot last year too.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's 2024.
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, last year was a great year.
Last year was a fun year.
It was
I was
really
very,
fun.
very, very grateful. I keep telling everyone, I just want more of it, right? I mean, I think all of us.
I know.
We just want to keep working.
Yeah,
we
but
love it.
It's so funny too, because
Yeah.
it's less about I want more like shows and more. It's like I want to be on set,
Yes.
and I
Yes.
cannot be on set unless
Yes.
I book something.
Yes, yes. And I want good characters and fun
Yeah.
characters that I love and that I
Yes.
want to pour all of me into. And
Yes.
yeah.
It's gonna continue. Your trajectory seems like it has been amazing. But in this year overall is just like you said. There's so much less out there.
Yes. I thought after the strike, I mean, I think that was kind of like the word on the street where, oh, we're going to have so much stuff coming out because all these pent up scripts and whatnot,
Yes.
they're going to flow out. And I don't know, kind of hitting the top of this year. All of my girlfriends, right?
Yeah.
I mean, like Priscilla or anyone really, we were all just like, are you auditioning?
Right.
Are you getting any auditions? I was like, no, it's quiet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And from people who audition a lot.
Yes.
Like,
yes.
You know, and it's just like when
Yeah.
that happens, I'm like,
Yeah.
oof.
Yeah.
Not even a
Not even
few.
the-
Like,
Yeah.
ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I agree. It's been
Yeah. It's been picking up a little bit, maybe.
yeah. Like I have like spurts, so it'll be
Yeah.
like nothing for 2 weeks, and I'm like,
Yes.
whoa, this is crazy. And then it'll be 2 weeks of like 4 good ones, and I'm like,
Yes.
ooh, this is fun. And
Yeah.
then it'll go back, and I'm like,
Yes.
geez, Louise.
But it's tough because the 4 good ones are like the really good ones where I also feel like the main roles are being offered too. That's the other aspect of this industry. Like we all kind of want to get there where
Yeah.
we're established enough in this industry where I can't blame them. I would love to be in that position too. So
I was thinking about this the other
Yeah.
day about how, because I think a movie just got cast, and it was definitely offered to the 2 lead girls. And I was like, I didn't even get a director session for it, so it's fine, but it's interesting. I was thinking the same thing. I was like, of course these girls are gonna take the offer. Like
would
I
take
yeah,
them,
well, I
of
would take. I
course.
want to get
Yeah.
there.
yes.
But it's tricky when I think a lot of people aren't working, and so a lot of lead actresses are taking up these roles that they wouldn't
Yeah.
necessarily usually take because there's just less out there. So
Yeah. Always something
But
new in this industry.
we keep going.
Yes.
Okay, well, can you share really quick your Mortal Kombat audition story? It was a tape to begin.
Oh, yeah. I'll touch on it a little bit.
Okay.
But yeah, I think I was in Bulgaria. I sent I sent in a tape before I went to Bulgaria. I was in
Okay.
LA. Got the audition, and I sent it in. They had me retape it. I retaped it.
Who had you retape it?
I think
Your team?
casting.
Okay.
I think casting had me retape it. I retaped it. They just, I guess, wanted more of what they wanted.
Yeah,
And
which is
so-
great, by the way.
No, I appreciate. I love
like,
it. I love it. I was
that-
like, tell me.
That
I
means
will
they're
redo it.
They
Yeah.
want you. They're like, look, I want to send
Yeah.
this to producers.
Yeah.
But tweak this and this because
Yes.
they'll like it more.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great.
Yes. And so I redid it, and then I don't think I heard back for a while. And then when I was in Bulgaria shooting Hellboy, that's when I had a director session, and you know what? I really, really appreciated the director session because he gave me an hour, if not a little bit more than an hour, which I love when
With him.
with him.
Whoa.
Yeah, we just kept working on it. And mind you, these were short scenes. So he was, to be honest, it got to a point where I was like, I feel like I'm not getting it. I feel like I'm just not hitting the notes properly, or there comes a point where it's like,
Yeah,
I feel like I'm not doing it right.
Never in my life have I been in a direction session for an hour. That's so fun.
Yeah, no, I loved it, and I appreciate it because they're on your side at that point, right? They just want you to get it right.
Yes.
And so, long story short, I came out of that feeling a little bit unsure. About whether I'd gotten it or not, and it took a really long time for me to hear back. So I kind of let that project go. So when it did go my way eventually, I was ecstatic. It's one of those things where you don't hear back for so long that you're like, oh, I didn't book it. I've stopped asking my team about it.
Totally.
I think at some point they're like, oh, we're not sure if it's going in your direction. I was like, okay, tick. That's another skill that we have to have where we have to learn to just be like, all right, this is not mine, and that's fine. But yeah, I'm just really grateful that it did end up coming my way.
That's a fun story.
Yeah. And I get to do it with one of my friends from Sabrina, Tati Gabrielle. So she was my sister on Sabrina, and now we get to play. Yeah,
that is so much fun. How long did you film it for?
We were there for a while. I want to say a couple of months, but we were interrupted by the strike.
Oh shit.
Yeah, so we came back here and then went back
to finish it up.
Yeah, finish it up.
Okay.
And then I finished at the top of this year. Yeah.
Oh my God.
And I loved it.
Yeah,
Did
every
so much.
minute of it.
Every minute of it, truly. Hardest job I've ever done, but
really,
yes.
just like physically.
I will.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
but
okay, well,
but I loved it.
You loved it.
We'll revisit when it's out next year.
Yeah, next year in October.
October 24th. Yeah.
Yay! Okay, that's so fun. Yeah. I miss those calls. I really want a booking call.
I know. It's funny though. It's always weird. I still feel like the Zoom is weird.
Yeah.
The Zoom. I feel like Zoom is weird. Yeah, the Zoom is weird. Yeah, it still throws me off even now.
I would have totally forgotten about that project too if it's been like months, because these days not these days. I feel like it's always been like you book it pretty, especially TV.
Yeah.
Usually hear back.
Yes.
That week.
Yes. Right.
I usually write those off pretty quickly.
Yeah.
But film actually does take longer.
Yes. Well, and that was the other interesting thing about my career, which was not planned. I went from TV to film.
Yeah.
And I also didn't, they're also different, in the way that they're structured in terms of how you're getting paid, how you're, I don't know, how you're even going out for things. I don't know. I felt like it was very different too. I had this understanding of how booking a show works. And also I like to be at least somewhat in the know of like what happens contractually. Mm-hmm. Yes, my team takes care of it, but also I just want to know, I don't know. I just want to be like on top of it too and not just let things happen. And so, I feel like I had it down with like, okay, this is how TV works. This is how much you get paid, from here to here for like an episode or this or that. And then it was like film. Okay, what does that look like? What does this world look outside of the work and like the things that I love doing, but the business side of it, right?
Yeah.
Which I do think we should also all be on top of.
Totally.
Because it is the entertainment industry.
Right.
It's a business.
Right.
And we are our own businesses and we should be on top of that.
Have you ever had to do something where you're like, what's going on here?
Do something as in...
I'll tell you my story.
Yes.
I have. So I shot a movie. Granted, it was like low budget. So and it was Tubi. So it's like you get what you pay for, or you get what you act for.
Yes.
No, I'm just kidding. But there was so much overtime that was not accounted for on my check, and I mapped it all out, and I sent my team and everyone, the producer, and I was like, here are all the hours that I did not get paid for. And I need this reflected on. Yeah. And they're like, oh, let me, like the production side was like, let me send this to payroll. They gave me a hard time too. They're like, I don't know about this. And I'm like, you're going to know about it because, but.
Did you keep tabs?
Yes.
Okay, but you see,
yes,
you were on top of it.
I was on top of it. So I took photos of the exhibit Gs. Again, I've never done that for TV.
Yeah.
This was something that I wasn't used to. Like you're saying, it was a film. And the budget was lower than I'm used to. So with TV, you know? And so I was like, I better keep track of this.
Yes.
And one of my co-stars he's like been working since he was 5. Yeah. And he's like 45. So he's so smart and intelligent. And I was like, Chad, what do I do? Like, what's going on? And he goes, most actors will just get the check, rip it open and cash it. And that's why they get away with it. And I was like, because they're so excited to get paid.
Interesting.
Like,
yes.
You know?
Yeah.
So
did you get the money?
You know what's so funny? So the overtime money, he goes, finally they write back and they're like, oh yeah, it looks like there's, X amount in overtime. That email came, I was like, great, thank you so much. That was 2 months ago, a month and a half ago. So I sent an email with my team attached, and my team is happy to do this, but I'm so like aggressive. I'm like, still waiting on this. My agent texted me this morning, just got the check.
Hell yeah.
But
okay,
it was
good.
because I kept
being
like,
but you should never have to chase money.
Never.
Yeah.
And I will say that's not
The
that
norm.
normal.
No, that's not the norm at all.
No.
Yeah.
I've been very blessed, but this was something that I knew, I think, from the beginning.
Yes.
I was
yeah. No, I have not had any. On that note, no, I'm trying to think of something. No, I feel like I've been, again, also very lucky just being on set with, amazing people and producers and whatnot, where I haven't been necessarily put in the position to have to like chase after something or
that's good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We got to take care of ourselves.
Yes.
You know what I mean? But I agree. I think set is such a fun, safe place. And
it should be.
And usually, even though there's horror stories out there, usually
it is.
It's really fun.
Yeah.
And everyone's kind.
Yes.
Because we're all happy to be there.
Yeah.
And
I think it's also, like you said, happy to be there and reminding yourself to be grateful that you are there. I think it's easy to get lost in this idea of, I don't know, you get so maybe jaded or whatnot. No, we're in really lucky positions.
Totally.
And
like,
I'm
okay,
really
day
grateful.
3, 14-hour day, it could get to a point where you're like, I'm, again, back to that thing of like, I'm tired, but still be nice to people.
Yes. Yeah. Again, you're allowed to just take a nap, do what you need to do, honor how you're feeling, but stay respectful. Because again, this is the other thing, I think on set, it's easy to have those lines blurred between friendship and coworkers. We're all coworkers at the end of the day.
Right.
And so even with our castmates, respectful, kind, if you don't get along with someone, that's okay. We don't have to get along with everybody. If you end up being friends, fantastic. And thankfully I have a lot of amazing friends from sets.
Yeah.
But yeah, just keep it professional.
Because you never know how long a show's going to go, too.
Absolutely. Or you're going to have to work with again, or who's going to change. And,
also a small industry, so everyone's
yes.
talking.
Yeah. It's also not worth your energy, right?
Yeah.
At that point. It's like, if something's not working, no need to engage with it.
Yeah.
You do your job, and then go home.
Yeah. Okay, Addie. Thank you so much for coming on. I loved hearing your story. Thanks. None of that I knew, so it was super fun to like pick your brain and get to know it all.
Thanks for having me. I loved it, truly.
Bye.
Bye.